Welcome, architects and developers. Let's get started on your journey to conquering the Claude Certified Architect Foundation certification. Get ready for a deep dive. Welcome, everyone. Today, we are unpacking the Claude Certified Architect Foundation certification. This certification isn't just about whether you know the syntax of an API call. It is about whether you possess the architectural judgment to build robust, production-grade applications. As we look at the first bullet, this exam tests your ability to make critical trade-offs using the Claude Agent SDK, Claude Code, and the Model Context Protocol. Why should you care? Because enterprise AI requires reliability, and this credential proves you have the chops to deliver it. You'll need to score at least 720 out of 1,000 to pass. Ideally, you bring about 6 months of hands-on experience, deeply understanding how to navigate context windows, prevent hallucinations, and orchestrate complex agentic loops. We will be covering exactly what you need to know to succeed. Let's turn our attention to the visual breakdown of the exam domains. As this pie chart clearly illustrates, the exam is divided into 5 core areas. Your heaviest focus must be on agentic architecture and orchestration, making up 27% of the exam. Following closely are Claude Code configuration and prompt engineering, both sitting at 20%. Tool design and MCP integration make up 18%, and finally, context management and reliability account for 15%. This distribution tells you exactly where to spend your study time. You cannot pass by just knowing how to prompt. You must understand the entire agentic lifecycle and infrastructure. Moving on to how you will actually be tested. This is not an exam where you can just memorize flashcards. It is heavily scenario-based. You will be dropped into the middle of realistic production problems. Out of a known pool of 6 complex scenarios, your specific exam will randomly select 4 to test you on. These scenarios range from building multi-agent research systems to integrating Claude Code into a CI/CD pipeline. Why do they do this? Because in the real world, context is everything. The exam wants to see if you can spot dangerous anti-patterns. For example, if a question asks how to stop a refund over $500, relying on a prompt is an anti-pattern. You need deterministic, programmatic hooks. Understanding how to navigate these scenarios is the key to passing. Looking at this flowchart, you can visualize your exam experience. You start with a global pool of 6 highly detailed scenarios. The exam engine acts as a router, randomly selecting exactly 4 scenarios for your session. Each of these selected scenarios then branches out into a series of multiple-choice questions. This means your study strategy must encompass all 6 potential scenarios, as you won't know which 4 you'll face until you sit down. Every question will tie back to the specific constraints and requirements of its parent scenario, demanding contextual problem-solving rather than isolated factual recall. Let's dive into Domain 1, the largest section of the exam at 27%, Agentic Architecture and Orchestration. This domain tests your ability to build autonomous systems reliably. The absolute core of this is the agentic loop. You must know that you never parse natural language like task complete to end a loop. Instead, you programmatically check the API's stop reason. If the reason is tool use, you run the tool and continue. If it's end turn, you stop. We also look at multi-agent orchestration. A massive exam tip here: sub-agents require context isolation. They operate in a hub-and-spoke model. If an exam option suggests sharing the coordinator's full conversation history with a sub-agent, it is always the wrong answer. Pass only the explicit, relevant context. This diagram beautifully illustrates the hub-and-spoke architecture you must master for Domain 1. Notice the coordinator agent sitting in the center. It acts as the brain, routing tasks. Importantly, look at the arrows going to the sub-agents. They are labeled explicit context. The coordinator is intentionally isolating the context, giving the web search agent only what it needs to search and the synthesis agent only what it needs to write. The sub-agents then return their structured findings back to the hub. This precise control of information flow prevents token waste and keeps your sub-agents laser-focused on their specific tasks. Welcome to Domain 2, Tool Design and MCP Integration. This makes up 18% of your exam. The golden rule of tool design is that your tool descriptions are the actual routing mechanism for the LLM. If you write a vague description, Claude will guess, and it will guess wrong. You also need to know tool distribution. Giving a single agent 18 tools causes degraded selection quality. The correct architectural choice is to distribute them about 4 to 5 tools per specialized subagent. Let's talk about a critical deep dive: error handling. The exam heavily tests your ability to distinguish between an access failure and an empty result. If your database times out, do not return an empty list. the agent will falsely assume the data doesn't exist. You must return a structured error with an IS error flag so the agent can recover intelligently. Follow the flow in this sequence diagram to understand proper structured error handling. The Claude agent initiates a call to the tool interface, which then queries the backend database. In this scenario, the database experiences a connection timeout. Instead of failing silently or returning empty data, the tool interface sends a specific, structured JSON payload back to the agent. IS error is true and is retriable is true. Because the agent receives this explicit metadata, it understands exactly what went wrong. It can now make an intelligent architectural decision to either wait and retry the connection or escalate the issue gracefully, avoiding a catastrophic silent failure. Domain 3 shifts our focus to Claude code configuration and workflows, representing 20% of your score. This is all about how development teams integrate Claude into their daily routines. You must understand the configuration hierarchy. Personal preferences like Vim key bindings go in your user-level Claude.md, while team standards like TypeScript strict mode go in the project-level file. You will also be tested on CI/CD integration. To run Claude code in a pipeline, you must use the -p flag for non-interactive mode. Here is a massive anti-pattern to avoid: same session self-review. If Claude generates a module, you cannot ask it to review that same code in the same session. It retains its reasoning context and suffers from confirmation bias. Always spin up a fresh session for automated code reviews. This class diagram lays out the strict hierarchy of Claude code configuration files. At the bottom, we have the user level, living in your home directory for personal editor settings. Above that is the project level, which contains version-controlled team standards. At the very top is the directory level, meant for highly specific module rules. The key takeaway from this visual is the concept of overriding precedence. Directory-level rules override project-level rules, which in turn override user-level rules. The exam will absolutely test if you know where to place specific configurations, so remember that team rules never belong in the user level. Domain 4 covers prompt engineering and structured output. You might think you know prompting, but production prompting is different. Vague instructions like find all issues are anti-patterns that lead to false positives and alert fatigue. You must use explicit, measurable criteria, like flag functions over 50 lines. When you have ambiguity, few-shot prompting is your best friend. The sweet spot is 2 to 4 examples showing edge cases. Furthermore, to get guaranteed JSON structure, you must use the tool use functionality with force tool choice. But listen carefully, tool use only guarantees the structure and syntax of the JSON. It does not guarantee the semantics, like ensuring line items add up to the total. You must write business logic to validate the data, and if it fails, feed the specific error back into the prompt for a retry. Let's walk through the validation retry loop shown in this state diagram. The process begins with the extract data state, where Claude successfully outputs a structurally perfect JSON payload via tool use. However, we immediately move to the validate semantic state. This is where your code checks the actual meaning of the data. Does the math add up? Are dates valid? If everything is correct, we transition to success. But if the business logic fails, we enter the retry state. Crucially, we don't just ask Claude to try again. We append the specific, detailed error back into the prompt and loop back to extract data, allowing the model to self-correct based on exact feedback. In our final domain, context management and reliability, we tackle how to keep agents sane over long interactions. A major risk is progressive summarization, where the model slowly forgets specific names and IDs. To solve this, let's look at a real-world use case, a customer support resolution agent. To make this reliable, you use an immutable case facts block at the top of your prompt that preserves exact order numbers and refund amounts, shielding them from being lost in the middle of long chats. You also must implement rock-solid escalation logic. You never escalate just because a customer has a negative sentiment or because the model reports low confidence. You escalate based on hard facts, policy gaps, technical capability limits, or direct user requests. Mastering these real-world architectural patterns is how you pass this exam. We hope this deep dive prepares you for success. I invite learners to like, subscribe, and visit QuickTechie.com for premium certification prep, including Q&A banks, full ebooks, audiobooks, full-length training, and interview guides. Take a close look at this flowchart detailing proper escalation logic for our customer support use case. A request comes in, and we immediately check objective criteria. If there is an explicit request for a human, a gap in company policy, or a hard business limit like a $500 refund cap, the path forces an immediate escalation to a human agent. But look at the bottom two paths, negative sentiment and low LLM confidence. Despite what intuition might suggest, these do not trigger escalation. The agent remains responsible for resolving these autonomously because sentiment does not equal complexity and LLM confidence is historically unreliable. This exact logic is what separates a certified architect from a beginner.
Welcome to QuickTechie.com. So just type in QuickTechie.com here. Then you can go through the material which is provided by QuickTechie. So we have first of all video courses which you can go here and you can find the various video courses across the technologies as well as finance domain. So if you see in Microsoft, we have 8 programs currently running. Next, you can go through the ebooks available. So all the ebooks which are in PDF format today, and you can download this. So let me go through Microsoft certification ebooks. You can click on any of this and you can see this is the PDF available for you to download. So these are the premium ebook mostly available on quicktechie.com platform only. Now the second part is exam simulator. As we primarily focus on the all technology companies and finance domain certification preparation material. So this is company wide listed here and you can go through this. So let me go through the Microsoft one again. You can see these are all Microsoft related certification. AB 730 exam, if you open it, so you can see here this and all the practice papers are available here. Today we have a 5 practice paper. So click on the first practice paper. It would load the questions. You can answer this question. This is way you can answer it and you can move to the next question. Now the third material we wanted to highlight is an audiobook. So we started recently with the audiobooks as well, which you can listen on the go, and various technology wise ebooks are available. And at the last, this is our alumni. These people who are subscribing to our courses and this platform, they are all listed here. And at the end, I wanted to tell you, if you find any course or training or certification preparation material which you want to get us prepared for yourself, please put on the comment section. If you're watching on YouTube, on Udemy, or on this platform itself, quicktechie.com, then please put the comment. Or you can even send an email to using this contact us options here. You can directly do the WhatsApp message. You can call us on this numbers as well.